President Trump taking action on Friday by signing two new executive orders. They're titled Restoring American Airspace Sovereignty and Unleashing American Drone Dominance, specifically aimed at addressing and combating the growing issue of drone danger. Here with us now on the potential effectiveness of these orders, Brandon Weichert, Senior National Security Editor at the National Interest and author of Winning Space, How America Remains a Superpower. Brandon, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's a joy to be here.
It's a joy to have you. Considering what we're seeing in other parts of the world, I want to start with how possible do you think it is that a drone attack could happen here on U.S. soil?
I think it is very highly probable, and I'm actually surprised it hasn't happened yet.
That's terrifying. You heard a little about lawmakers' concerns. How vulnerable are we? Are we prepared for this type of threat?
We are not prepared at all. I think the president is making the steps needed, but these steps should have been taken about a decade ago, maybe 5 years ago. But at least it's better late than never, I guess. But we are very much behind the curve.
How vulnerable are we? If you can explain that to me.
Yeah. Well, so basically, just look at what the Ukrainians did in Russia.
Right.
They were able to park what looked like container trucks outside of these bases and then deploy these drones, which are very fast, very hard to intercept. And the Russian bases were not on full alert because they were so far from the front. Nobody assumed that the Ukrainians could do this. Similarly, our bases here in the United States are so far from any major combat areas. Our defenses are not what they should be. And also, by the way, we're talking also about ports. The Chinese have some of the largest container ships coming into our ports. DJI is a major drone maker in China. It would not be hard to convert a container ship into a drone mothership, park it in the port of LA, and launch hundreds of these things, and we won't be able to stop it before it's too late.
It seems like a scene from the movie, but also reiterating that we're vulnerable from all sides. We know the FAA was conducting drone detection tests after residents in New Jersey were alarmed by a number of drone sightings. Even here in this newsroom, I remember hearing that from many of my colleagues. These attacks could occur. We've learned that. But will these tests help protect us, like the ones we saw in Jersey a few months ago?
Yes, they will help us to be able to defend, but the problem is we don't have the systems in place enough to knock these things down. This was a problem the Russians faced. Most of their anti-drone systems were sent to the front line of Ukraine. They weren't at those bases, which is why they weren't shot down. So we need to build more of these anti-drone systems and deploy them here at our sensitive facilities and at our ports.
Which, of course, costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time. Walmart just this week says it's increasing its drone service for deliveries. You know, us Americans, we like our deliveries. We like them fast. And they're not the only company doing this. So as commercial drone services increase in our skies, what are the challenges in identifying friendly versus enemy drones, Brandon?
Oh, it's going to be very chaotic in the beginning, and it's going to be significantly complicating. And our enemies will use the presence of these civilian drones to distract our security services from their hostile drones. Drones can be dual use. You know, what can be used to deliver an Amazon package can also actually be used to drop a bomb. And so this is going to be a very chaotic period until we figure out the regulatory framework that's needed.
I'm never going to look at this drone video again, because you're absolutely right. You just never know. President Trump once again mentioned working on a golden dome. He said it as recently as last month. Here's a little bit of what he said, Brendan.
I think you'll like this. I announced that we are officially building all in America, made in America, designed in America. We're the only ones that could do it because we're the only ones with the great technology. We're building the Golden Dome missile defense shield to protect our homeland and to protect West Point from attack, and it will be completed before I leave office.
The Gold Dome, of course, very different than the Iron Dome in Israel, but this is a major part of the president's defense plan. Should we be focusing our efforts on creating the Golden Dome and looking at this? The proposed budget for it is about $175 billion over 3 years, $500 billion, according to the Congressional Budget Office, over 2 decades.
Yeah. Well, this is another one of those that's long time coming, but I would be very concerned right now because we need this, but they don't really address the drone issue in the Golden Dome. Golden Dome is really about anti-hypersonic weapons defense and defending against traditional ballistic missiles. But I don't really see much in the draft, of this plan talking about anti-drone. And that's the real critical crisis right now, is how do we protect our key infrastructure and bases at home from the drones.
So you think the focus, at least for now, should go more towards protecting us from drone attacks than, let's say, a Golden Dome?
Well, at this point, I'd say an a la carte approach is needed because we need to do it all now. But yeah, we need to definitely start worrying about drones because these things are not going away. They're only getting more present.
Yeah, well said. Brandon Weichert, thank you so much for your context here, of course.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.